My lord, we just witnessed the most illogical, dumbest, most stupid and ridiculous heel turn slash ending in NXT history. Black and gold. I'll even go back to the game show era of NXT. This is one of the dumbest, most doesn't make sense, make it make sense moment in NXT history. Cora Jade turns heel and betrays her best friend.
Told you so.
Just a week after winning the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, and we are here to discuss it on the Mocha 2.0 edition of the WrestleTalk Podcast. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, back in the saddle once again with Mommy Niangi's baby boy reunited, and it feels so good. It is Sat E, and what does the E represent today?
Emancipation from whatever obligation I had last week. Niangi! First of all, I want to thank Tempest. For a few of you in the chat, they were like, who are these guys? Where's Tempest? Well, Tempest came back last week. And for those of you like, why is he back? He's so negative. You can't have it both ways, guys. Do you miss him or you don't miss him? But thank you, Tempest, for 3,000 more viewers than we usually get since some of you jumped off the ship because we changed time and we changed skin tone. But yeah, thank you, Tempest, for filling in so much because he did a great job. He's entitled to his opinion. Yeah, we tried to be positive, but as you can see, SP3 could not logically untangle the illogical plot that unfolded. So hi chat, I've missed you guys. Hope you missed me for a week. If some of you probably didn't, you're like, thank God it's gone. 3,000 more viewers. That says a lot. I hope I can keep you. Maybe you guys watching it now. You're like, Tempest is not damn dipping. Don't dip. Give us a chance. Give me a chance. Every show I've been in, I've been on the chopping block. So I am paranoid and hot in the sun. SP, let's talk about it. I'm starting up now.
Oh man, that was great. I've been having to hear about this, ladies and gentlemen, that the fact that we got 2,000 more views last week than our previous week from Sat all week.
That was the problem, guys.
I love this guy.
No, you have to understand. You know, I was tempted. I was going to ask you, SP, should we dip and see what happens? What happened with the views and stuff like that? And I think I might get in trouble for actually mentioning it. Is it one of those things where you're like, don't highlight the negative? As Paul Heyman say, let's talk about the positive. Let's talk about the diversity. Let's talk about the beautiful black content you're getting. Get more viewers. Watch us. We're actually really good, guys. And NXT is not all bad. And we're not always negative. So SP, you're the man. You're one of the greatest. You're the chameleon.
Some people say they watch this show for the mocha. They don't even watch it for NXT. They watch it for the mocha that we bring, the flavor that we bring, the references. I referenced Homeboys in Outer Space one week. I remember that. And other things. So.
Can I ask you something? Because I realized I messed up S-P-Gacy. I left my robe in the other room. Do you require me to put it on? Do you require?
Of course I do. Of course I do. What are you talking about, sir? What are you talking about? Well, I'm going to set the table for our big topic of today, which of course is the worst ending in NXT history. So yeah, you have time because we have to go over the beginning, the middle, and the end of the show, because this show was all about Roxanne Perez getting her shot at the NXT Women's Championship and how that transpired at the end of the day. But we want to hear from all of you. What did you think about Cora Jade's illogical heel turn at the end of this show? WrestleTalk.com/support. Send us those Mochachats. We love to hear from all of you. Your voices need to be heard, and it helps out the channel, helps out this video so much hearing from you, because we love to hear from you just like you guys love to hear from us. But let's talk about this show. It kicked off with Roxanne Perez down in the parking lot with Cora Jade frantically just going around. We head over to commentary, and they talk about how Roxanne Perez has been laid out and injured in the parking lot. Vic Joseph said that this has to be Toxic Attraction. It has Toxic Attraction's name written all over it. Wade Barrett, actually, Wade Barrett gave us the spoiler alert. Wade Barrett said it could have been a partner, could have been Amari Miller, said it could have been a number of people. Backstage later on, after our first match, we go to Mackenzie, who interviews Cora Jade, who says that she knew they should have come to the arena together. Cora says that this has Toxic Attraction written all over it. Jade hopes that Roxanne can make it for the match tonight, but if not, those 3 biscuits will have hell to pay. Then we go to later on in the show. There's an interview with Toxic Attraction where they're talking about the attack. All throughout the night, everybody's getting questioned. Everybody is a suspect throughout this night. We get the Toxic Attraction interview where where Mackenzie kind of interrogates them. She accuses them of attacking Roxanne Perez, and JC Jane denies those allegations. Gigi Dolan says things move fast in NXT 2.0. You could win a gold one week and waste your contract the next. Mackenzie brings up Mandy saying that Roxanne might not make her title match, and Rose says when you're the champion, you can see these things coming. She also questions Elektra Lopez later on in the night. We get an interview with Nikita Lyons where she's also accused, where she says that she's been getting DMs and messages and people saying that accusing her of attacking Roxanne Perez because she had the most to gain, but she says that's not her style. Lyons then says that if Mandy needs an opponent, she will put her gear on and take the NXT women's title from her. We also go into the locker room, the women's locker room, where they're questioning everybody, saying it could be this person. Amari Miller says that she watches a lot of soap operas, so it's usually the husband or the boyfriend, but they don't think Roxanne Perez has either of those. And then finally, we go to the main event. The main event, Mandy Rose versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. Mandy Rose comes out first. Toxic Attraction make their usual entrance. The men in the crowd, and I should have noted this last week during the NXT Women's Tag Team matchup. It was very split crowd then, with the men cheering for Toxic Attraction, while the women and the kids were cheering for Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez last week. And then this week we got a little bit of that again with the men chanting Mandy when she comes into the ring. Rose says that she doesn't need their chants. She says that Roxanne Perez isn't woman enough to suck it up and challenge her tonight. She says Roxanne couldn't beat her tonight anyway. We get dual chants with one side of the crowd saying shut the hell up and the other side chanting let her talk. Rose then says that she runs NXT and nothing will change. And then Cora Jade interrupts. She tells Rose to shut the hell up. Jade says her night isn't over because the fans were promised an NXT women's title match, and she says that if Roxanne can't go, she will step in and challenge her herself. Roxanne's music then hits and a referee tries to stop her. We then hear Cora tell Perez that she doesn't have to do this, but she insists on going to the ring, so Jay says go kick her ass. Rose works over the damaged ribs of Perez throughout this matchup. The crowd is really rallying behind Perez. We get a Roxy 2-belt chant. Perez makes her comeback, even fights off Toxic Attraction outside the ring. Roxanne then hits pop rocks on Rose on the floor, and then she rolls her back into the ring. Cora is there rooting her friend on, and then we see JC Jane out of the corner of the ring. She tries to sneak into the ring. The referee is distracted by this long enough for Cora Jade to take off her NXT Women's Tag Team title and nail Perez right in the back. She turns around. She's all heartbroken, like, why could my friend do this to me? And then Mandy follows up with a running rising knee strike for the win to retain the NXT Women's Championship. The match overall was good with, Roxanne Perez did a really good job of selling the injured ribs, making her little comebacks and getting the crowd behind her. And I will say, the only good thing I could say about the finish is that it was shocking. Shocking that they can be this stupid this fast. This was microwave booking. Post-match, it gets even worse, ladies and gentlemen. Cora Jade talks trash to Roxanne Perez and says, I bought you here. You're selfish. And then Cora botches hitting her with her skateboard as the skateboard was supposed to break, and on the way up it hits her hat off her head and breaks the skateboard. Then she's supposed to hit her with the other half of the skateboard that's not broken, but she just throws it out of her hands, and then her hat falls on Roxanne Perez instead. Then she starts hitting her with the half-broken part of the skateboard. She yells at Roxanne saying, I bought you here, I made you, and that's how we close the show with one of, like I said at the beginning of this show, this is one of the most illogical and worst endings to an NXT show. But my God, this is a botchamania worthy heel turn of all time. This is one of the most botchamania. This is coming from someone who you can go back and watch the previous weeks. I like Roxanne Perez. I even saw, the heel turn coming, and we both said Cora Jade would be great as a heel if it made sense. It makes zero sense to do this now, a week after winning the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. There was so many different ways they could have done this. I will give you the best way they could have done last night. But
obviously, UK time, already in the morning. I was like, I'm so confused. Have I been in the coma for 6 months? I was right. She had lust in her eyes. 6 months payoff. And I looked at date again. I've only been gone from this show for a week, but it feels like I've been gone for 6 months. And I came back. I went, see, SP, all we had to do is long-term storybooking. But someone said there is no time for that crap. So it doesn't make sense. Only because they won the tag titles. Had they not won the tag titles, sure, it's the Russian. It would have kind of made sense if they lost the tag titles and he's like, hey, we lost the tag titles, all you care about is your title. You're so selfish. That's why I broke the skateboard out of the skateboard. That would have made sense. Also, it kind of, the hints of why she did it happened when she came at the end. She thought it was WrestleMania 9. She was Hulk Hogan because she still had lust in her eyes. She's like, go on, brother. You got to face me for the title. But Roxanne was like, I'm not Bret Hart. I won't be duped. I will have my title match. So I think the grand scheme of things, the logical reason why she wanted a title shot, she thought her friend's selfish. You don't deserve it. You got it too fast. I've been here longer than you. Blah, 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 blah. How dare you get in front of me? That's the weird booking they're going to do. Does it make sense? No, I'm with you guys. It does not make sense. They had a great storyline building. Now, what they're going to do now for Halloween Havoc? Because they not blew it. They're not blowing through storylines. Mandy's going back on the main roster. This was the storyline that could have carried the division during the winter time. I was looking forward to it. I said it. Even Cora Jade's conviction, when she goes, I brought you in. I enjoyed that. She can play Psycho really well. Her conviction as a character was great. It's just that it is 6 months too early. Or WWE booking, sorry, it's 3 months too early. It should have been after they lost the tag titles, right? They could have lost the tag titles tonight and it could have happened. Like SP said, we've got a multiverse of options of what could have brought them to this if it had to be fast. SP, you're the man. Break down the storyline. How would you have done it?
What I would have done, because it was fairly a little bit obvious that Cora Jade was the one that attacked her, even from the very beginning of the show. Because
Shawn Michaels Triple H all over again, by the way. Can I put in?
Yep. And that's how you know Michael Hickenbottom is behind this. So
good,
it was it was fairly obvious that it was her, but they could have, hold off on the reveal. Like, why did we have a 3-month storyline in 2 hours? We had a 3-month storyline in 2 hours. You could have made this a mystery, like some of the best mysteries that have happened in NXT. I saw the other day that one of the greatest endings of all time in NXT is when Johnny Gargano was revealed as the guy that attacked Aleister Black. And that went on. I know Aleister Black was injured, but that at least went on for 2 months. That went on for 2 months, and it added layers upon layers layers, and it gave you a narrative thread throughout weeks of television, and it built up to the moment. I did not like Johnny Gargano as a heel, and it didn't make sense that he only turned heel to turn back babyface to feud with Ciampa again at WrestleMania, at the WrestleMania 35 weekend. But at the end of the day, it was a narrative thread, and it made sense when Johnny Gargano was revealed. I'm not saying that Cora Jade turning on Roxanne Perez doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense right now. Like, what you should have done is have the attack, and Roxanne is out. She's not going to compete in the match, and Cora Jade replaces her. They were almost there with completing this storyline. Cora Jade replaces her. Cora Jade still loses, but then it becomes week after week who attacked Roxanne Perez. You can have all the other segments that they had throughout this one show. They could have had it in separate weeks. Nikita Lyons playing the role of The Rock in the Stone Cold got run over storyline, where she's the person that eventually beats Mandy Rhodes, and everybody's like, well, it had to be Nikita Lyons then, because Nikita Lyons, didn't be in the breakout tournament, didn't have the opportunity to verse Roxanne Perez. She, feels like it was stolen away from her, and then she goes on to beat Mandy Rhodes. She had the most to gain. She gained the most from Roxanne Perez being out, and wins the title. She becomes the biggest suspect, and then you can have some type of authority figure do the investigation, play the Commissioner Mick Foley role, and kind of interrogate different people, whether it's Elektra Lopez because of her connection with the mob. She could have been a part of this. Whether it's one of the low-level ladies that we saw in the locker room, maybe they wanted to, go up in progression. Toxic Attraction, of course, is the Triple H in all of this, although they're not the real Triple H, because Triple H was behind the Stone Cold running over, but they're the most obvious suspects in this whole thing. But it could have been week after week of building it up, and then the eventual reveal is when Roxanne does cash in her contract and get her title shot against Nikita Lyons. It's Cora Jade that turns on her and costs her the championship. And then you could have built this up all over, at the very least. Build it up to like right before SummerSlam, either WrestleMania weekend or the end of the year, at least before Halloween Havoc or something like that. At the very least, at least go to Halloween Havoc with this. The fact that they blew off what could have been months of storyline in 2 hours, this is the most illogical thing I have ever seen. And that's not even taking into account the awful beatdown that solidified her heel turn with the skateboard breaking. This is one of the worst endings of WWE television that I have seen. You see how this has escalated in the first 18 minutes of the show? I started off by saying it's one of the most illogical endings in NXT history. This is one of the worst endings in WWE television in a while.
Do you remember we were the podcast of positivity? That's how much we're broken. We cannot tape over the cracks. But imagine if she did an Ahmed Johnson and joined Toxic Attraction in the end. Wouldn't that have been even more funnier? Because what you do with the tag titles, you know what I'm kind of sense is gonna happen. So the tag titles gonna get vacated, obviously. Is Kayden and Katana gonna win it in the match against Toxic Attraction? Maybe. I'm hoping so, because now is the time for Kayden and Katana. I'm jumping ahead. I'm just throwing that out there. If they're gonna do that, or they're gonna do a big show storyline in WCW, the Giant and Sting, they each get partners or whatever. Whoever wins the tag gets custody of both belts. I don't know what's gonna happen. Or they can do what MSK did. It's never happened. Let's move on swiftly.
This reminds me so much of Dean Ambrose turning on Seth Rollins after Roman Reigns announced he had leukemia. This was just a heel turn to, pop some buzz, pop some shock value. Yes, it was shocking when it happened, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense because Ambrose and Rollins won the tag team titles the same night that he turned on them. In this case, they waited a week after they won the tag team titles to have one of the members of the team turn on the other. Oh man, I'm so frustrated. Yeah, Booker of the Year, Michael Hickenbottom.
I think
microwave booking of the year.
Microwave, either microwave Hickenbottom. Microwave Hickenbottom does it again. SB, people want me to do that bit again. We'll do that bit when it gets to that thing about the mask guy. I'll do that bit because everyone's waiting for me to say it. but I'm gonna wait. We got segments. We got S-P-Gacy coming up. We've got a mask guy, kind of familiar, coming up. And I didn't say it last week. So I'll say it, guys, this week. Don't worry, guys. I'll say it.
Please, guys, please save us. But send us those mocha chats, WrestleTalk.com/support. What did you think about the Cora Jade heel turn? Did you like it? Do you disagree with me? Were you totally fine with it happening in 2 hours, months of booking in 2 hours of television? Were you fine with that? Let us know with those mocha chats. They help out the channel. We love to hear from all of you. You are the third co-host of the Mocha 2.0 podcast. We love to hear from you, and we'll read all your Mocha chats at the end of the show. But let's get into the rest of NXT 2.0 from last night. Sat, the opening matchup was Apollo Crews going one-on-one with Giovanni Vinci. This was one I was looking forward to after the setup last week on Great American Bash. During Vinci's entrance, he finishes off his photos by heading to where Vic and Wade are standing to point to the camera, and Wade does the Zoolander blue steel pose while Vic is all confused looking at Giovanni. I see you did it too. Nicely done. Vinci also has some Burberry designer trunks and knee pads now. I was like, this is the improvement. These are the things we would want to kind of flesh out the presentation. Apollo uses his strength and athleticism to get the early advantage, but then Vinci gains control until we return from commercial break, and Crews catches Giovanni with a drop kick in midair. Crews reverses the last ride power bomb. He gets an insecurity and then follows with the chariot, but Vinci rolls to the outside. A fan in the front row takes a photo of Giovanni, so he takes his camera away. This distracts the referee long enough for Zion Quinn, who's been standing in the crowd this entire time. I didn't realize it until they showed the highlights before. I was like, you just look like a fan for this guy that says he screams WWE superstar. This distracts the referee for Zion to come out of the crowd. He hits Apollo with a forearm, which allows Vinci to hit the sit out last ride powerbomb for the win. I thought the match was really good. They had pretty good chemistry with each other, but very surprising they had Crews lose in his first singles match back on NXT. What did you think, Sat?
They stripped away of everything that made Apollo Crews, what made his return great. His theme song bangs. His old theme song bangs. Apollo! You know who it was because the name screamed in the beginning, so you get excited. And he had the one before that. Sure, you don't want to give him the African version, got it. But the original version before the African version, that was great too. They're coming back to that. Now they give him a generic song. He comes out. Heck, he doesn't do the same corner pose anymore. He's not raising his fist in the air. And yeah, he still get Apollo chants, but it's not as loud as it was when he had that song. That's what hype people. Do you remember when he first came back? It was like the second coming of something incredible, and now he's like, that's so Apollo. He's getting premonition. Where was the premonition for this match? That gimmick could have come in handy now. He could have saw it. Oh no, Exion's in the crowd, don't pick up the phone. But no, that didn't happen. The match itself, I put down two bold freak athletes because they are probably like mirror images. Although Apollo's labeled to be 6 foot tall and Vinci's labeled to be 6 foot tall, Apollo Crews looks more 5'10" in that match, unless Vinci's wearing lifts or whatever. I felt like the first half was like a feeling out process. It was kind of like very standard, basic TV match-esque. So I got worried. At one point, I was like, oh, I'm kind of disappointed. But when they got to the second half of the match, and when things got quicker, the pacing got quicker. At one point, we had, was it Vinci went to the springboard, and then Apollo he hit him with a drop kick or something like that? He just drop springboard counting into a drop kick. I was like, now the match is getting into third gear, like second and third gear. So yeah, I can't wait for them to fight on like a takeover or whatever cards they do nowadays, have a longer match. I felt like it was like a nice taster of what could be done between them. And yeah, Apollo losing, albeit it was kind of a distraction. Vinci needed it more because it's one of those matches where it happened too soon, but you can't back out of it now. It's like Apollo needed a victory. Vinci's on the upswing. You can't let a new old character lose in the beginning. And it is a signature victory he can hang his hat on. This is a former Intercontinental champion. This is a guy who's been in WrestleMania, as it was mentioned. So it's a big deal for Vinci to win. Should Apollo Crews lose? No, but at the same time, these two guys are going to add to the main event scene because this is what you need right now. So it was a great match. Yes.
It seems like they changed plans to me because it seemed like when Apollo Crews came back on here, he was destined to verse Braun Breaker at like the next big NXT show, which reports I think from Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer was that it's going to happen in August. It seemed like that was going to be the match, Apollo Crews versus Braun Breaker, but from the ending last week with JD McDonough attacking Breaker to what happened with Crews this week, it seems like those plans have changed, but it's time to talk about one of my favorite segments, favorite characters on this show. We go to earlier today. We see Tiffany Stratton at an upscale nail salon, and she says, and I quote, I wrote down the whole promo for everybody because I said I would do this. OMG, I so needed this after that atrocity last week. I mean, you saw I was attacked by some crazy girl. I found myself having to crawl on the floor, the dirty, disgusting warehouse floor. I haven't even been able to look at my nails. There's still dirt under them. Look! Ah. Don't even get me started on my gear or my hair, but in the end, as always, I prevailed and overcame the odds, and that grown-up child, Wendy Chu. She is so obsessed with me, it's like not even funny. It's more borderline creepy. I need to leave Candyland behind because I, Avi, want to see who wins the Women's Championship tonight. These look great. Thank you. And then she goes up to the front desk clerk and says, yeah, she wasn't the greatest of all time, but I'll spare you the bad review. Toodles.
That was the nicest she's ever been to someone. I'm just gonna go on the record. It's the nicest. Even if the backhanded compliment, there was a compliment in there. That's something she never does. And she acknowledged she had bad hair at one point, right? I feel like when she's going to spiel, she's like, and my hair, blah, 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 blah.
My gear and my hair.
So something came into my mind, yeah. This is more, I shouldn't fantasy book because I feel like nowadays wrestling fans come up with better ideas than the bookers sometimes. I don't know. So later on, we have Malik Blade and Idris Enofe wrestle. And Wade Barrett mentioned how they got strong social media game. And I always said that how the tag team needs something to add to the presentation. They could just be social media influencers associated with Tiffany's goons. Just them three doing stuff. That could be fun. See, it's an idea. I shouldn't think about it because now I'm depressed because it's not going to happen.
No, you're depressed
because it's never going to happen. This is wrestling fans. This is us. When you put expectations in your head and WWE's like, no. Put it down here. Put it down here.
We're never going to meet that. Let it go.
Yeah.
Next, we got an in-ring promo from Cameron Grimes out to the ring looking very despondent after losing the NXT Championship match last week. The fans clap for him and chant to the moon. This was probably the most behind I've heard the fans behind Cameron Grimes since his whole character change. Grimes says he really wishes he could give you an excuse as to why he didn't win the NXT Championship, but he can't. Cameron says he trained, he hit the cave in, but the three never came. Grimes says that the Braun Breaker is at home in a sling right now, but he still has the NXT championship. Cameron talks about all his failures and thinking that he was going to the moon, but he crashed into the sun. Out comes JD McDonough to interrupt. JD says he hates to kick a guy when he's down, but let me kick a guy while he's down. He tells Grimes to wrap up the pretty party and do his crying in the back. McDonough says the whole game changed when the Irish Ace walked through the door. He fooled everyone who thought he was debuting this week by showing up last week, I guess. Grimes says,
Roxanne did it better.
Grimes says he heard about you calling heard about JD McDonough calling himself the Irish Ace, but he could speak for the people by saying all he sees is an Irish a-hole. McDonough headbutts Cameron, which had to hurt, but Grimes still recovers and he looks like he's about to hit the cave in, but JD rolls out, and that sets up a one-on-one match between McDonough and Grimes for next week's show. What did you think about this segment?
Did you hear Grimes yelp in the end when he was shouting at him? I think that was he shoot angry? Because that was a great intensity. Can you come back here? He's proper like it was proper like two women having a scrap fight. Someone clawed in someone's face and someone just in their feelings. You come out. Anyway, JD McDonough has helped save the main event scene. That's what it needed. Yeah, we wanted Apollo Crews versus Bron Breakker, but you know, they're realizing we're running out of people. I mean, let's just space out the food that we have. Let's have portions. So JD McDonough, it wasn't like he came out for North American, because I'm tired of Hill versus Hill shtick that's been happening in the North American title scene. The main event scene, there's a baby face who need heels. It's kind of like you need to, you know, replenish. So I'm happy JD McDonough is a breath of fresh air in that division. And he reminds me of Sheamus in his promo style, which is good because Sheamus is one of the better talkers on the microphones. When he said grimy, I was like, that's like a Sheamus thing to do. We mix someone's name. But Hammerhead, with that headbutt happen, I was like, I need insurance of that head. That headbutt looks lethal. And I don't care, he's got a hammerhead. His head's bigger than his body. I know some people were like offended, but I'm just telling the truth. He's got a big head. I'm not lying. I'll be lying if I said he has a small head. I'm not trying to lie to you guys. You see it like I see it. His head is big.
I couldn't believe there was a lot of comments that were offended by you going ham on his head.
So, but put down his whole name and on Google and see if you still defend him. But yeah, you know, he just headbutted it. I was like, oh no, Grimes. You know what? Before I forget my train of thought, because it does happen sometimes, guys. Cameron Grimes has talked me into hoping that this storyline is about him actually getting the title. Even though it's not, he's going to lose to JD McDonough next week and probably, who knows, continue to mope or whatever.
He's become like the gatekeeper. He's taken over Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's spot as the gatekeeper of NXT now.
Oh, they could have just made it Roderick Strong, because it's better than what Strong's doing right now. We'll get there in a moment. Speaking of which,
yes.
Transition.
Speaking of which, backstage, the Creed brothers and Damon Kemp are watching tape from last week's tag team matchup. Creeds give Kemp some advice on his loss, which he thanks them and says that he would love to run it back. And in comes Roderick Strong, who is just ashamed of Damon Kemp for trying to run it back. He says that
run it black.
He blames Kemp for the loss and he challenges Damon to a one-on-one match next week. And I was just like, oh, Roddy, just picking on this poor dude now. He can't get a win against anyone else. So he has to pick on the guy in Diamond Mine that loses more than him.
He's going to lose. The thing is, yeah, they're booking him like he's what? Jamie Noble? They're booking him like he's this non-threat. It's kind of like Chris Jericho from 1998. It's like Roderick Strong is going to play the part of Chris Jericho from 1998, where he is too delusional. Like they're portraying him as too big for his boots. But it's like we've seen his entire NXT run. He's one of the only guys who has to say, I won that title. The only title I haven't won is the NXT title, which he should be helping that division. Yeah, he's putting people over, but I feel like he should be putting people over that's on his... They will never be on his level. They're on the rise. Like a Bron Breakker would be great with a Roderick Strong. I think Roderick already lost to him. But yeah, Cameron Grimes would have a great match with Roderick Strong. Heck, JD McDonough would have a great match with Roderick Strong. Apollo Crews and Roderick Strong. They haven't touched hands in NXT yet that I can remember. So there's so many things they can do for Roddy. So every time I see a Diamond Mine scene, I'm like, this is like a definition of cucking someone. They're going to cuck Roddy even more than they already have. Because now I'm with you now. For weeks, I'm like, he's the leader of Diamond Mine. But I'm like, in my heart, he's the leader. But my eye says he's not. They're all like even.
I said it last week. I came up with the best analogy for Roddy Strong in Diamond Mine. It's like a family that lost their father, Malcolm Bivens, and now the older brother who dropped out of high school and has been working at the car lot for the last 10 years is trying to be like, I'm the man of the house now. While his two younger brothers who are going to college, who are graduating from college with honors, who are like the star athletes about to go to the NFL and the NBA, they're the ones that are just like, why are we listening to you, bro? You've been in the same spot for 10 years and ain't going nowhere.
That's horrible because how he's booked, and you look at his resume, legit. In NXT, the only title Roderick Strong has not touched is the NXT title. You should be putting respect on this guy's name, but they've botched 2022 for Roderick so hard. I'm still on the Roderick Strong train. I still am. It's lonely nowadays.
I am not criticizing Roderick Strong, the
Of course
performer.
not.
He's
Yeah.
still a fantastic professional wrestler. I am criticizing Roderick Strong, the character they are presenting every Tuesday night on NXT
It's not him.
2.0.
I refuse to believe that he looks like Roddy. He even talks like Roddy.
It ain't
But that's
Roddy. Back from break, we get Mackenzie interviewing Greyson Waller, who says that if last week's match was based on points, he would have been up. And Greyson then says that Mackenzie wants to blame Wes Lee for his loss last week, and she's right. Waller tells Mackenzie to give Lee a piece of his mind when he sees him, when she sees him, and then Greyson says, "Back to you, Vic and Wade." So I think we're going to get
nice.
Wes Lee versus Greyson Waller. So that should be at least interesting. Then we got women's matchup. We had Tatum Paxley going one-on-one with Kaden Carter with Katana Chance. When Kaden has an early advantage, Ivy now comes out to support Paxley. So we're seeing that formation of that tag team we heard about in the rumors a couple of weeks back. Carter locks on the trailer hitch at one point on Tatum, and she fights through the pain and gets to the ropes. After some words of wisdom from Niall on the outside, Paxley gets the win with a roll-up on Carter. This was a developmental match. It wasn't too offensive, but it was just kind of there. But the real story is the further formation of the team between Ivy now and Tatum Paxley.
That is true. It was more a storyline than a match, but I did like the standing whisper in the wind that Tatum Paxley did. Shout out to that, and a nice baseball drop kick from Kaden to Tatum. So those are the two highlights I enjoyed in that match. It was a match to further a story, like we said. So we're not offended by the short match. It is better the way it was before it outstood its welcome, and we may be looking at future tag team champions. The two women from Diamond Mine, or potentially if Tatum does officially join. That kind of makes not sense, but at least we have that as a backup when the title does get vacated or whatever. And it'll make sense for K and K. It'll be funny if Kate and Katana again, a new makeshift tag team, goes over them. So that'll be a great storyline. Then they actually beat them. So that I would actually like that, because anything that connects a storyline tissue for me is better than forgetting a storyline point and just dropping it.
I love this comment here from Tails P, who says, that's what Roderick leading Diamond Mine
come on,
is.
guys.
Yes, it's X-Pac. It's X-Pac leading DX.
This is not X Factor, whatever.
That is great. No, it's great stuff.
No, it's Roderick is a killer. That's the problem. It's not X-Pac. This is it's like Bobby Fish leading. You know what?
Nope.
I give up. I give up. I tap out. That's a former ROH World Champion, guys. A former PWG champion, but I give up.
You know, I'm sorry to tell you this.
No, you're ROH young boy. I'm disappointed.
Yes, exactly. Commentary is about to talk about the big championship match later on tonight when we hear a voice say, "Joseph, Vic," and it is, of course, love is blind. The grass is greener on the other side. Joe Gacy is here, and of course, he is here to send his message. And he says, "Excuse me, I humbly apologize for the interruption, but this message is too important to fall on deaf ears. There has been a breakthrough among the schism. These two brave souls have finally reached the point of comfort in revealing their true selves. Next week, a cleansing, a purification will take place, and hopefully we'll see and understand there is plenty of room in the shade under the schism's tree. Thank you for your indulgence. Love is blind. The grass is greener on the other side." So sad. First of all, they are no longer the dyad. They are now the schism.
No, they are still the dyad. No, I assume
the tag team is the dyad and the group is the schism.
Boom, because he's not a dyad. You know what dyad is? He's a druid. I'm not going to call myself a druid. I'm like, you two are backup dancers. I'm not calling myself backup dancers either. I'm the leader. This is my group. It's called Schism. So, guys, remember the dyad, because when they're wrestling matches, they need names. It's the dyad, because Gibson and Drake are getting new names. That's what the cleansing means. So, get ready for some weird, convoluted name like, Eggnog and Fill My Fold. I don't know. Like, they're going to have weird names, Grassroots or
it's going to be
pudding.
like Retribution, basically. It's going to be T-Bar and Mace.
Because the clue was there. He said cleansing. They're going to reveal themselves. It'll be like, wait a minute, it's them. Like they used to be grizzled.
You do the Wade Barrett impersonation too well.
I am English, yeah. So I don't know if you know that.
I just realized. Sorry.
Yeah. So I feel like they're gonna do the whole thing where we're gonna recognize them, but then now they got new names. I think is the best way to have us buy into new names without us getting mad that they got new names. No, it's Drake and Gibson. It's Drake and Gibson. No, it's not Drake and Gibson anymore. It's tea tree oil and lavender. Like, whatever name they're going to get now. I'm getting ready for it, guys. I'm helping you guys to know that their name may change. If it doesn't change, good on Michael Hickenbottom for not doing that. But in my heart of hearts, there's this new edict. They need new names. So tea tree and lavender of the Schism in the ring of the Schism. I'm getting ready for it.
I'm calling them tea tree and lavender now. That's it.
Right? Tea tree and lavender.
And dyad tea tree and dyad lavender.
Gibson looks like a tea tree to me because he's taller. And lavender, Drake, you lovely with your long hair, lavender. He's a lavender, isn't he?
Lavender. Mango.
And orange.
Earlier today, we see highlights of last week's barbecue that kicked off the Great American Bash, where Sanga yelled cannonball before going in the pool. And then we see Sanga and his ladies are watching when Duke Hudson approaches, still mad, and they set up a match for next. Before we get to that, though, we head to the bar where Josh Briggs and Brooke Henson and bartender Fallon Henley are living the good life with the NXT UK Tag Team titles. Income's pretty deadly, wearing their country cowboy hats and attire, and who say, how dare they bring those pretty titles into a dump like this. All the people are staring at them, and they said they've never seen two tasty snacks like us. Briggs and Jensen say they came in, but they're gonna have to fight their way out of the bar before they can get into this brawl. Bartender Henley gets on top of the bar and says that this ain't happening in their bar, and says that they will settle things in the ring next week, and that sets up an NXT UK Tag Team title match for next week's show.
SP, since you've been in the UK, are you familiar with a show called EastEnders?
I've been aware of that show, not just since I've came to the UK.
Good. So I'm going to give you an EastEnders reference because they're in the pub, because there's a pub in EastEnders. I wrote down Fallon Henley channels her inner Peggy Mitchell. All was missing was her saying, "Get out of my pub." That was a catchphrase, by the way, because all these things, SP's like names, Mitchell's in there, get out of my pub. So yeah, because Peggy used to do that. When there used to be chaos, she would be like, right, get out of my pub. So Henley, when she got up there, like, oh, she's telling her inner Peggy Mitchell. For everyone in the UK, this is for you. For everyone that watch it online and international around the country, this is for you. Extended reference. R.I.P. Barbara Windsor. Mwah.
There you go. That's what Sat's here for. Sanga versus Duke Hudson is next. This match wasn't very good. It wasn't the worst match on this show, but
it was better than Sanga's previous match.
Okay, yes. Duke Hudson is slightly better than Zion Quinn. Sanga has new gear, though, with no Braun Strowman / AOP gear anymore. And instead, he has black trunks and gloves like he's an Indian Goldberg.
Wait, Hudson. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm trying to cut you off, but you've seen this before. This is his second time wearing it. Is that your first time Is this?
It's my first time realizing it. First time it registered for me.
I made a joke. No, but you know what? I'm gonna let you finish because I'm worried about you. I made a joke and everything about Goldberg 98 and everything. I guess you know so did. That kind of explains it.
Hudson starts trying to pull out Sanga's chest hair at one point. Wade brings up Duke Hudson possibly joining Maximum Male Models, which I had to put in my notes. That might be the move to give Hudson a spot on the main roster for real.
I think it's his personality, but yeah.
It does. Sanga eats Duke Hudson's big boot and no sells it, and then he hits the choke slam for the win. This was a very basic big man battle with Sanga the Thunder continuing his push, and the CWC even chants Sanga's name post match. So it seems like he's getting over, I guess.
We like Sanga. He needs another gear change. I think he needs like long pants or something like that. I don't want to be like, oh, he needs Sabu-esque pants, but that would make him look cool. A bigger version of Sabu. Like he needs something that like not like he doesn't have to wear like his counterpart, but he needs something spectacular. For guys big like his size, what he's wearing right now is kind of underwhelming. He needs something that makes him look imposing and it looks dynamic and true to his character. Heck, even give him like cut dress shirt and pants, something that makes him look cool, suave. Give him some suspenders with a cut shirt because he likes doing the facial hair thing and he's a ladies' man. You know, give him pajamas like Big Daddy Vis. You know, give him a pajama like Viscera. Something that makes him stand out. You know, do you know what I'm trying to get at? He needs outfit that makes him go, look at me, I'm Sanga, ladies' man extraordinaire. So what I realized Sanga's doing, Sanga is beating up wrestlers that Vince McMahon would love, and Sanga doesn't like people from Australia because the last person he worked for was from Australia. That's long-term storybooking in my head.
Michael Hickenbottom, Booker of the Year.
Yeah.
Backstage, Mr. Stone talks about Von Wagner being a 3-sport athlete, and Sophia Cromwell talks about him choosing football. Wagner tells Stone to shut up and says that this is a fight and he's going to prove he's tougher than Solo Sikoa. Solo says that it's go time, so let's get it. And that brings us to our matchup between Solo and Vaughn. The fight between the two men starts during Wagner's entrance when Solo attacks him in the entranceway. Wagner works over, gets the heat on Solo before he makes his comeback. Once again, does the look into the running hip attack in the corner, although his running hip attack is a tier lower than Tony Storm's. Just want to put that out there. The two men fight on the floor, leading to a double count out. This was yet another very basic developmental matchup with the feud continuing between the two men, and then post-match officials come down to separate the two as they continue to brawl. And then later during the segment with the women's locker room, we see them fighting into the women's locker room, and then even later in the show they fight into the parking lot. The officials finally separate the two men, and then Mr. Stone talks tracks to Solo, who picks up Mr. Stone and throws him into a nearby dumpster. What did you think about Solo and Von Wagner kind of really developing a feud here, which probably will blow out down the road?
So this match, like the entire show, had like for me a 90s kind of vibe to it, because the heel turn for me was very 90s in terms of like, oh no, shocking turn on the partner. This match was very 90s. I felt I was watching primetime wrestling. I thought I was watching the Berserker versus one of the head shrinkers in that ring, because how the match ended is very much 90s. And when I grew up watching Superstars, that could potentially happen. I wrote down as a host fight between two second-generation wrestlers, because Von Wagner is a second-generation wrestler. He's a Beverly. If Beverly brothers mean anything to you. And Solo Sikoa, who knows his daddy is, and his big quiche. The question I put down was, can Von Wagner hang in the ring? Has he progressed? This was Von Wagner's biggest test in the ring, but he wrestles like a lumbering and plodding big man. So early in the match, it was lumbering and plodding. If you grew up in the 90s, you're used to it, but in the 21st century, the pacing of the match has sped up, so people find that boring. So when Solo took over, that's when the match got exciting, because Solo can go on second and third gear. So the match got exciting when he did his comeback. So that's when I enjoyed it. So the hip attacks and all the Samoan drops, all the great signature moves that he does made the match more interesting towards the end. All Solo. Von Wagner, you know what? He does the bare minimum that gets the job done in the ring. I mean, he understands the assignment. I'm not Brian Cage. I'm not going to do flippy dives. I'm not Mike Awesome. I'm not going to do dive outside the ring. Vince likes my things. My feet's on the floor, so as I'm going to wrestle. So that's what I got from that match. He's still yawn Wagner. That's what I put down. Yawn. And when he talks, yawn. But he's going to get pushed. This is your future like Money in the Bank winner, probably. next
Oh,
year.
please no.
Yeah,
Please
guys.
no. Oh,
Yes. It should be
Jesus.
Braun Breaker, but they're gonna go with Jan Wagner. Yay.
Jan Wagner, indeed. We see one of my favorites, obviously, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. They're at the Eden Club, walking out with four ladies in their arms. They talk about their individual wins at the Great American Bash. Hayes says that let's take the ladies to the penthouse. So they show up on the penthouse, and Trick says, just stay by Trick and Mello, and we will take you places. Everywhere where the sun shines is yours. Hayes says that they are like Kobe and Shaq. They are like Pac and Snoop. We are the dream team for real. One of the girls brings up them having a jacuzzi, which moves the party over to the jacuzzi. And then Hayes says that let's do a toast in the jacuzzi for the A champion after another successful title defense. And this is just the celebration following up from last week. We don't see any type of development as far as who's next for Carmelo Hayes, but this was nice to kind of further develop their characters. They are, like we said before, they are the Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett of NXT 2.0.
When in the jacuzzi, I was like, where's Paul Levesque? He's got a history of being in jacuzzis where he shouldn't be. I was proper waiting for Paul Levesque to pop up and be in the picture and do this, but it didn't happen. It was a nice break for the guys, a little celebratory, segment for the guys, which they deserve. They both had victories coming out of Great American Bash. And like yourself, I'm looking forward to who the next challenger is. But I'm kind of now starting to realize if they don't bring back Ben Carter, because I forgot what his character name is, they're kind of short on the babyface side for the North American title scene. I just noticed
Nathan
that.
Frazier.
There you go. That's the basic ass name. I'm still waiting for the second half of the segment they're meant to do. They promised me kind of like that.
It's been weeks now.
Where's Lex Luger? Where's the Lex Luger icons? Where is Nathan Frazier's backstory?
They forgot about it.
Dude, because all of a sudden, a certain person that's been lost has been found. They're like, I forgot. Let's forget Nathan Frazier for now. Now I have to be like, where's Nathan? Nah, I don't care. We do need more baby faces for Mello to face, because I'm starting to think now in my head which mid-card guy is next. I mean, it should be Solo, but for some inexplicable reason, they went, Jan, let's give you something to do. It should be Solo now.
I think it's because they have a month before they get to the next special. So I think they're going to do, Jan versus Solo to determine who versus Carmelo Hayes. That's probably what they plan on doing.
The only person that needs two managers and valet. What does he think he is? Yokozuna? Yokozuna had, because he's a spectacle. This guy needs two mouthpieces and he still talks. Defeats the purpose, guys.
Horrible. We had a quick segment where Wade and Vic kicked it over to the Chase U road trip to London, England. That was set up last week. We see Andre Chase and Bodie Haywood and Thea Hale sightseeing in London. Chase tells Haywood that he will be knighted in England, and they hang the Chase U flag from the gates of the Queen. Chase curses out a student for saying that Chase U is the 7th best university in his speech. I mean, that joke is getting very old very quickly. But otherwise, this was fine.
How long has it been since he's done a rant?
I mean, he did a rant last week. He did it last week when they set up this London thing.
See, this is what happened. I must have went to the bathroom when that happened, guys. Yikes!
Don't worry. It's understandable. It's understandable to use the bathroom when Chase U has a backstage segment.
No, I actually
when Jan Wagner is on the screen.
Oh, when Jan Wagner is on the screen, I'm glued to see how he's gonna be underwhelming, and he continues to be underwhelming. I feel like that's his character. I actually enjoy it because he's so mediocre. It's almost entertaining because it's like Braun Breaker is clearly the standout, but I can still see Vince being. Look at the guy's height, Jan Breaker.
He's so tall. He's so tall.
What's the name? Nah, he is Jan Beverly. Give him a Beverly, bro.
No, he won't. He won't do it.
I know.
He doesn't do nicknames. He doesn't do last names.
Also, wasn't it very King Kong and Godzilla? Them just continuing fighting Solo and Von Wagner. It's like King Kong and Godzilla breaking everything. I found that funny.
Pretty much.
That's just me.
Next, we go backstage and we see a Lash Legend dribbling a basketball, talking trash to Indy Hartwell. Legend says she will do what she did to the ball to Indy in the ring. Lash rolls the ball away, and a red baseball bat stops it. I wonder who that can be. Lash Legend versus Indy Hartwell is next. Legend gains control by using her power and grounding Hartwell. Alba Fire is seen with Legends basketball at the bird's nest position, and there's fire all over the screen, so you know Alba's here, distracting Lash, which causes Indy to hit a spine buster. She then tries to follow with the springboard elbow drop, but slips off the top rope. Oh my lord. Lash covers Indy, but Hartwell somehow reverses it into a cradle for the win. I thought this was a very sloppy match with a botch finish, and I think this would have been the most talked about botch of the show if it wasn't for the ending of the show. Post-match, Alba Fire is on the apron, points her bat at Lash Legend before chasing her off by swinging the bat at her. What did you think, Seth?
Poor Indy. SP3 has defeated her
This
confidence.
is the person you said should be called up just a couple of weeks ago, and I told you a couple of weeks ago that no, she's not ready yet. She's not ready yet, and she keeps proving me right.
I cursed her. It's my fault. Indy, I'm so sorry. I highlighted that I thought you should be in the main roster. Should be R-Truth second in the 24/7 title chase. And then SP3 broke down your game, exposed a few holes in your game. And since then, the holes continue to get bigger, like the Grand Canyon. And what for me sucks is, that was meant to be the finish of the match. It was meant to be a spectacular finish. Even though Lash got distracted, it still would have been more decisive than what she ended up doing. She ended up doing a fluke win. There's a difference between doing your finisher and a fluke pin. But like a veteran, Lash did well to cover it, and then they were able to come up with something because it didn't linger for too long. Yeah, it happened, and the fact they didn't replay it even goes to show you it wasn't part of the plan. Because we're like, no, it's part of the plan. Look what happened. She pinned it. She did the thing. No, that didn't happen. I was sad that happened to Indy. I hope that she can recover from this botch, but at least she won. But knowing NXT or WWE's logic, we may have another rematch. Maybe they now starting to make Indy kind of irrelevant because she's now a third wheel in someone else's storyline. That's not great. She's a great character. In the ring, I can't talk great about her in-ring skills anymore because she's embarrassed me a little bit, girl. But she's got character, guys, and she can always improve in the ring. It's Indy. She's a former women's champion, tag team champion.
I like Indy, but yeah, that match was the worst thing on the show.
I wanted her to become NXT champion, and now SP3's gonna laugh me out the door. He's like, Nikita's getting the title, Sat. Nikita's getting the title.
I'm here for it. We saw the scan here barcode once again. I didn't scan the barcode once again. I'm sure it was some type of numbers once again, but I didn't care to scan it this week. Let us know in the comments. I'll highlight your comment in the live chat if you did scan the barcode. But after that, we see Mackenzie is interviewing the D-Angelo family. Mackenzie asks if Elektra Lopez knows who attacked Roxanne Perez. Tony D interrupts and says that Lopez has been a valuable asset for the D'Angelo family. So now it's on Del Toro and Wild to prove themselves tonight. And that leads us to our tag team matchup of Tony D'Angelo and Stacks versus Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. Commentary say that Santos Escobar has been discharged from the hospital after last week. I don't know if you saw this part of last week's show, but Santos did not look like he was attacked. He looked like he was sick in a hospital bed. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe he got the 19. I don't know. Tony D and Stacks isolate Enofe until he makes the hot tag to Blade. Malik comes in running wild on both men. Tony D pushes Enofe into the steel steps on the floor while Stacks drops Blade with a stun gun on the turnbuckle. Tony D then follows up with the swinging neckbreaker for the win. Another very basic tag team match on this very basic night of professional wrestling on this show. Like I think I've only said only like 2.5 1.5 matches has been good on this show. Post-match, Tony D orders Del Toro and Wild to attack Blade and Enofe, and they hit Blade with the Russian leg sweep sidekick combo. So they have proven themselves to the D-Angelo family. What did you think?
I feel like Michael Hickenbottom must have realized that he's rushed through the storyline, so they needed to buy some more time. So they made up this story about beating up Santos Escobar. Sure, if I don't see the footage, it never happened. So by doing that, they're prolonging the inevitable, which is the Jefe de Jefe, Santos Escobar, returning to screw over Tony D again. What I don't understand is my math shows me that there's more Legado members in the family than there is family members. They can easily whip their Keiko. They can easily whip their butt. They can easily just whip their butt. Hey, Electra can take both of them on at the same time and whip both of their butts. So I don't understand why they're all being cowering and stuff like that. Like, I don't understand that. I feel like probably Santos tripped, come out the shower, and they took advantage and say, yeah, we did that to him. He's probably being clumsy. That's why he's in the hospital doing this. I'm fine, guys. It's not too bad. Yeah. So, like, we know where this storyline's heading. We know where it's going. So it comes to a point where it's kind of like, can we rush this storyline quickly, guys? Can we rush through this? Because this is a storyline I don't really care for, because it's kind of like, it reached this peak a long time ago. It reached this peak as the match was happening of who loses goes to each other's organization.
Yeah, like that's why that stipulation never made sense, because the blow off of this was the 6-man tag, and all the stipulation did was try to continue this on when it didn't need to continue. They just needed to go their separate ways after this, but it is what it is. Maybe we get the Santos Escobar official babyface turn, because it looks like Del Toro, Wild, and Lopez are going to turn on him.
Oh, especially Electra, man. I think she's liking this whatever role that she's been given. So she's going to major guns it and turn on her own team and stay in the Team Canada-esque Tony D'Angelo organization. If you're a WCW fan, New Blood era, you get the reference. If you're younger, past the age of 2001 and 2, what the heck am I talking about? Go on the WWE Network in the UK or Peacock, wherever you are.
But the final thing to touch on this show is the thing you've been waiting to say, Sat. So say the line that you always say, but now you can say he has been what?
A kid has been found! Guys, after months of searching and looking, it turns out a kid has been in witness protection, but for his safety, he can no longer show his face. So a kid has become an axiom. What is an axiom, you ask? It is when your face is covered. He's an axiom, guys. A kid has been found, guys. A kid has been found, guys. A kid has been found. I'm so happy. I was going to make a Madeline McCann joke, but it's going to be tasteless. But a kid has been found. He's not an axiom, whatever axiom is.
Whatever it is, but he's going to debut. Axiom is going to debut next week. Apparently, his character is Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, because Tempest hates Big Bang Theory, and he uses mathematics to be a great technical wrestler.
Can I ask you something? What did you think of his mask?
Thought it was very, very Fiego del Sol.
Really? I thought it was more like Serpentico. I don't know why I'm using his.
That too, yeah, probably more Serpentico. You're actually right.
Because at least you can see Fuego. This guy, you cannot even see the outline or the shape of his face. What is he? A black noir? If you watch The Boys, like I like. If they gave him a great mask, that mask just didn't do it for me, because they had the whole symbol thing, and then you can't even see the. I guess because he's anonymous, he's an axiom. But guys, forget all of that. A kid has been found. Let's all rejoice. Let's all hold hands, kumbaya, and sing songs of celebration, because a kid has been found. And no, not in NXT UK, in NXT 2.0, where it actually counts.
Our milk cartons and your work, viewers, has worked, because a kid has been found and he's become an axiom that debuts next week. But we got to get
You're an axiom.
Axiom, who cares?
No, I mean, I'm saying that whoever it is, you're an axiom. I'm an axiom.
we got to get into your Mochachats to close off this edition of the Mocha 2.0 podcast. But let's put our thumbs in the middle, Sat, for this edition of NXT 2.0 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs all the way down. This is the worst episode that I've seen in weeks. This is they're usually right smack down in the middle. And last week was smackdown in the middle where the first half of the first hour of the show really was inconsequential. And the second hour of the show was actually good when you had Carmelo Hayes versus Greyson Waller and the main event with Braun Breaker and Cameron Grimes. But this show was not good. And it's usually how you leave them, and how they left us was with one of the worst illogical endings in NXT 2.0 history.
But it was good car crash TV, guys. He may say it was bad, but this is the most buzz NXT has gotten in a while. No publicity is bad publicity. Heck, it's the most I saw Twitter talk about NXT stuff. I was like, wow, man, this is how it feels like to be on a podcast where things happen and people might actually tune in and see things. Wow, I'm so excited. Yeah, man, it was trash, but all for the right reasons. You know what it was? It was too many matches for a show that's an hour and a half. It's just too many matches, and most of them didn't have any finishes. But it was an ADHD booking. No, that is a bad thing. You know, my attention sometimes suffers. You guys can tell. But it'll be the explanation next week that Cora has that can make or break this storyline. Because I know how it started off. People are making fun of it. But I enjoyed it for the wrong reason. Like I'm saying, it was so bad that it was good. It titillated the pleasures, the guilty pleasures. This whole thing, I enjoyed it. It titillated, but the juices of my guilty pleasure. NXT 2.0 is a lot of people's guilty pleasure or hate watch, whatever. So yeah, I it is what it is, and I can't wait to see next week because now I don't want to tune in and be like, why? Why we get paid because we have to tune in? But I am genuinely curious. And Axiom is coming, guys. And Axiom.
There you go. We got a reason to watch because it's XEM. But yes, last call for Mochachats at WrestleTalk.com/support. Sat, let's get into what the people had to say about this edition of NXT 2.0.
Actually, before I do that, I want you guys to hold on for a second. Time for me to thank the mods before I forget. You know, they are the people in the chat, the man behind the curtain, man and women behind the curtain. They're the reason why the ship is steered correctly. There's a reason why the chat is so positive. So it's time for me to thank the mods, the Blue Wench Order. So it's time for Sats and SP3's Mod Raw Call. So shout out to Mod Brother Bubba, aka Paul. Shout out to Mod Brother Andy. And shout out to the motherest of all mods, Mother Jenna. We love you. You're still house moving. I hope your house moves.
No, I think she's all done. She's all done. Congratulations. Congratulations,
Mom.
Mom.
Wikipedia said different. I have to update her Wikipedia entry now. Mother's house has everything it needs. She's all settled in. She's all cozy. She's all watching Sat, making sure I don't swear. She's like, swear, Joe, say it. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
so
I just want to say, Mother, my only curse was someone's line on NXT 2.0 that I just repeated. That was the only thing I said today.
Because he's an ace hole and a hammerhead. I'm going to hammer it home, guys. I don't care if it hurts your feelings. He's got a hammerhead. When I look at him, I'm like, gosh darn it. Look at that head and body ratio. On
right,
swiftly
go
to
ahead.
the Mochachats, yes. So we have Mayor of Painesville, friend of the podcast, Mayor of Painesville, Dan. He says, this is the worst heel turn I have ever seen. The timing, the acting job, the execution, the timing, starve the ego, feed the soul. Well, I guess not. Cora Jade, if that was even your real name. I have no space to go into full detail, but this is stupid.
One of your greatest Mochachats that you've ever set, Mayor Fayetteville Dan. Mayor Fayetteville Dan is one of my favorites in the live chat with the Mochachats on Twitter, and that is one of your best Mochachats ever.
Yeah, I hope I did the reading. I did you proud of reading the way I did, man, because Mayor Painesville is one of the most loveliest guys. Charitable donator. Be more like Dan. We love you, Dan. Mayor Painesville. I named this room after you. This is the Mayor Painesville room where I am. My partner doesn't know, but he's going to argue with me. Why did I name it? But Mayor Painesville, he's funded with the Mochachats, the supplies that I have in my life. On to the next Mochachat. We have Devin Mercer. Devin says, do you think the NXT Women's Tag Team title would disappear now? SP?
Yeah, I don't have any faith in it because the only tag team outside of Toxic Attraction is Kaden and Katana, who have been booked like losers for a good 2 years now. So if those are the only two teams, maybe Ivy Now and Tatum Paxley are going to be the next NXT Women's Tag Team champions, but we are fairly quickly running out of tag teams, but at least it's better than the WWE Women's Tag Team titles.
There you go. We've got a tag team that's unproven. Put the title on them so no one can complain because they haven't really done much. Learn on the job. We have a next chat donation here from Tails P. Cora drove the Hummer. She did it for the Rose.
She did it.
I love it. Tails P, you are a person after our own hearts. These are the references I live for. Continuing what Tails P wrote. What if the Profits win the tag titles, then Ford attacks Dawkins with a cup that's disintegrated in his hand? Who are the faces in the women's division?
That was a great one. That was a great, the cup explodes in his hand like he's Chris Jericho trying to crack a bottle over CM Punk. Oh man, people don't understand how bad this heel turn was. My significant other that barely watches NXT, she just the only thing she said after that was stupid.
And that's why Cora just start whacking it over and over again. The frustration of like that broke, and then you know what? At least she hit her over and over again, because if she didn't do that, it would look even more weak. She had to like try and distract. You're not gonna remember this. Give this moment. Give this moment. I hit my head. Anyway, next chat here we have Non-Stop Goose. Don't watch NXT, but I love Sat, SP3 and Mocha Wednesdays. Much love. I would like to see Cameron Grimes in a good angle, but unfortunately, he's probably getting paired with Gacy.
I mean, that might be next after he loses. I know he's going to lose to McDonough next week to set up McDonough to verse Braun Breaker, but yeah, the top might be a feud with Joe Gacy.
No. A Mopey Cameron Grimes versus Joe Gacy in his current formation sounds like a recipe to jump off a ground floor balcony.
Grimes joining the schism. Yes, join the schism.
The only negative side is it keeps him in NXT longer. I think he's main roster ready, either that or giving an NXT title. I feel like we could be on a journey, but we're not. He's going to lose next weekend, might fade to obscurity. I might check. Is there anyone in the chat? Guys, this is your last chance here. Any miscellaneous? Nothing? No, we're good to go home. Take it home. SP, this is all yours.
Well, this is another edition of the Mocha 2.0 edition of the WrestleTalk Podcast YouTube channel, reviewing NXT 2.0. Remember to drop the thumbs up on the video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you are new to the WrestleTalk Podcast YouTube channel. We got the AEW Dynamite review tomorrow with Ali and Luke. You got my daughter breaking my light as I'm trying to finish up here. You also got on Friday the magazine show with Denise and Luke. You also got on Saturday the LIW boys Tempest and Pete reviewing SmackDown and Rampage. But until next Wednesday, that is Mommy Niangi's baby boy Sat E. I am SP3, and this has been Mocha 2.0.
We're out of time. Bye.